Alright, guys, so this is another Patreon request, and this one comes from Jonathan Bermudez, who asked me to do of all things, a fan film review. This is interesting. This is fascinating, and I've never done... I think I did a fan film review once, I thought I was going to do, I remember vaguely, I remember talking about wanting to do years ago, years after seeing a really good Captain America fan film, I thought, that'd be a cool thing, a cool bit of just doing a really cool fan film. But here's the thing, though. There's tons of fan films out there. And while I've seen really good ones, I've seen really bad ones, too. So I was like, So this is interesting. So this might be my latest fan film review. This might be my the latest fan film review I've done for Patreon. And as always, if you would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, and hit the 4th tier, where you can send, after doing so, you can send me reviews. Send me requests to do for Patreon reviews. So anyway, let's get started with this review. And what is it? As you can see from the title, Venom, Truth in Journalism. Technically, it's called just Truth in Journalism. Yeah, it's really just called Truth in Journalism, but it's a Venom fan film. It's literally a Venom fan film. So it's all about Venom. It's the main character is Eddie Brock. It's a Venom fan film. So for lack of a better word, let's call it Venom. Venom, Truth in Journalism. Sorry, I lost myself. Anyway, so let's talk about this. If you don't know what Venom, Truth in Journalism is, don't worry. This fan film has been around for about 8, 9, going on nearly 10 years. This fan film has been around for nearly 10 years, and it's more important as to who the creator is. The creator is the same person behind Dread, as well as the Castlevania and upcoming Devil May Cry series on Netflix. Yeah, it's Andy Shankar, I believe his name is. I could be wrong, but yeah, his studio production has been behind. Before they got really big, they had done things like Dread. Before they got big with Dread and the Castlevania series, as well as the upcoming, like I said, Devil May Cry series, they had done just a bunch of fan films, a lot of really interesting fan films. There was a Punisher one that brought back Thomas Jane and had Ron Perlman in it. You also had a fan film that was a Power Rangers fan film that was more this dark, gritty, almost you may as well call it Zack Snyder's Power Rangers. That's really, yeah, you may as well call it Zack Snyder's Power Rangers at that point. Sorry, I'm a little distracted today. Sorry, I got a lot to do. Anyway, so this fan film focuses on Eddie Brock doing a fan film. Not fan film, a interview with a camera crew, and they follow him through his life. And this film is fascinating because it really does give you vibes of Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, Maniac, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. It's really a nice little self-portrait of a character. Now, this isn't anti-Venom. This isn't anti-hero Venom. This is not ooh, we bring justice upon people. It's more no, this is scary ass. I terrify a slasher in a horror movie Venom. This is this is Venom, who is not a good person. It's I think it's a very well done film. It has that grain to it and almost a dream-like feel to it. It really does have this nice kind of dream-like feel. And the actor playing Eddie Brock is very engaging. It's an Eddie Brock that is almost what Sam Raimi wanted to do with Topher Grace, if that's makes any sense. It's fascinating. You'll understand it when you see the fan film. But yeah, it really feels like what Topher Grace was supposed to be as Venom before, studio. There are some drawbacks. This film does show its budget. That's why I think they do the black and white, just to give it that kind of art house feel. So it really does have that budget to it. It also really, and I do stress really, have a good Venom costume. It does, and I understand it's a fan film, but it really looks like a gimp suit. I'm sorry, it looks like a straight up gimp suit, really. There's some nice violence and good CGI and practical tendrils to the symbiote, but yeah, that suit literally is not good. I understand it's a fan film, and trying to do a Venom suit, a Venom symbiote costume on a fan film budget is tough. But I can't, and thankfully they don't put a lot of, like, focus on Venom. They do bring a lot, I do like how they talk about the Sin Eater stuff. Like, this really does focus on, like, the stuff with how Eddie Brock fell from grace with Sin Eater. And like I said, the title of Truth in Journalism, there's a lot of, like, Eddie's thoughts on journalism itself. Like, he's kind of like, he's been burned by it ever since Sin Eater, and there's these really interesting like comments on modern day media and how it kind of, like, stretches the truth, even though it's supposed to tell the truth. And I really like that. I really do like that. So it's a fun fan film, and it's really nice to see, like, the creators behind some of the best nerd-centric stuff out there in terms of, like, animation, and one of the best comic book movies with Dredd. I'd say give this a watch. I really do think this is definitely worth your time if you haven't seen it already. Just go in there and realize, and when you see the Venom suit, when you see Eddie Brock go full Venom, do understand that it's not great. just keep your mind open, you know? Anyway, so you guys sent me, so I'd like to thank Jonathan Bermudez for sending me this Patreon request, and once again, if you want to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.